What you looking at? What you looking at? Did I finish the TechNate survey? I'm gonna go buy one from eBay in a second. I'm trying to think of what else we want to talk about. So there's the sound effects, the graphics, netcode, heat system, chip damage. Combos are super fun. I love that part of the game. Law is super cool. We talked about the easy DSS, easy running 3, easy slide. Easy slide, they should probably change. I'm okay with the other ones. Instagram.com, level up your game. Also, my TikTok has been popping off. It's old ass boomer. That's my TikTok. Old ass boomer. All right? Easy to follow. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So, of course, now the CNT is finally over. We've had 2 weekends with the game. So, there's a lot of impressions, right? There's been a lot of people talking about balance and, you know, what's broken, the chip damage, the heat state, simplification of the game, the strings being safer on block, counter hit throws being unbreakable. I've tried to test it like in a billion ways. Yeah, he did reversal. He did reversal there. So he did King's reversal. So when you do a reversal or a parry, you will get thrown. And when you do, it's like this sound effect happens, right? Big ass noise.
I'm a dragon.
Listen to the noise. Right? And so people have been thinking that that is a counter hit throw. That's a throw beating a power crush or a parry or punishing a rage art. I think I have one example of it also punishing a power crush as well. So that is the one instance of it where it's a little bit different. Like where you can use it as a punish, not just like versus it at the same time. Everything else I've tried in terms of like punishing a move in their recovery frames with the throw or throwing someone in their startup, I never got to work. Key charging and doing it, didn't do no sound effects, didn't do nothing. They were still able to break the key charge throw. So I am like 90% sure that counter hit throws are not a thing. Like so many people said that counter hit throws are unbreakable. And so many reputable people have said it that like I was like, all right, this must be true because everyone's saying it, but I haven't been able to confirm it at all. And I've tried multiple ways, right? So I don't know what the situation is. You know, when the game's actually out, we can test it. We'll know. But for me, it seems like it's versus power crush, versus parries, versus counters. Throws win in those situations, and they're unbreakable. Rage art on block, you can punish with it, and that's also unbreakable. And also, I think, not 100% sure of this one, but I think if you punish a power crush in its recovery frames with the throw, then it's also unbreakable. So those are the examples I've seen. What I'm curious about is whether you can punish other moves that have special properties. Like if you punish a homing attack with the throw, does that work? Is that unbreakable? If you punish a heat engager with the throw, is that unbreakable? You know, so there's still question marks about the system. Of the throw system, but it's definitely different. And I gotta say, I do actually like this change. If it was counter throws, right, then I would not have liked it. But in this current situation, I do like it. Because as far as I know, right, beats parry, beats counters, beats power crush, punches rage arts. In that instance, we get to see the generic throws again, right? All these throws that have been in the game, even some with reworked animations like Law's one throw in this game, Tekken 8. There's a new camera animation, which is the animation and direction I like seeing from Tekken 3. That's all redone, and you can finally see it now because you can actually do it in a situation where it's guaranteed to happen, right? And at the highest level of the game, everyone breaks all these throws anyway, so you don't ever get to see them. All people ever use it for is like the throw escape to swap sides, you know? So I feel like this is actually a decent change. And we get to see the throws again, so I'm actually not opposed to this right now. You know, and separately, you know, I know a lot of people have been asking me about Law. Let's talk about Law really quick. One of the biggest complaints that people have had about Law is that the DSS is easier now, right? There's an easy input for DSS, this is true. You can hold forward to go into DSS now. Yes, it makes certain things easier, but for me, holding forward doesn't always seem to like click in my head. Like timing wise, like you kind of have to just wait there, right? Like you're doing an input, then you're holding forward, you're just waiting for the moment, and then you learn when to press the button, right? You can't mash it in a lot of situations. For example, if you're doing like 4-3, right? If you do 4-3 and you're mashing the 4 with the holding forward, you'll get 4-3-4, right? So you actually have to wait still to hit the legend kick after it. So I actually don't mind the change at all. The old input is still there, and it's how I still do my execution, and the timing is much better for me that way. So I think all it's actually done is open the door for more players to be able to try out this character and learn how to do it. And I think they're still going to make a lot of mistakes with the DSS because holding forward is really difficult to time. At least it is for me. Like, I think if you learn from scratch, maybe it'll be easier. But the real complaint I have about Law is about the slide input. They have changed up and made the slide input so easy now. It's like, I'm finding ways that shouldn't be possible, right? Like, you can be standing up, hold down forward for a brief moment, stand back up, then hit down, down forward, and still get the slide input. So Law can literally stand back up in the middle of his slide input and get the slide still. It's really strange. Like, obviously, it's very good for a Law player to have that because it's buff. So I'm complaining about something that's buff for Law here. But it's also so simplified that that's even possible, you know? The other one is, like, you can just hold down forward, right? Down forward towards. So you're holding towards the opponent. You can hold it there for like 20 seconds. And then from there, all you have to do is go back to down and down forward 3. That's it, right? So you can just be holding the down forward the whole time, ba-ba, and that's a slide, right? I don't like that change. I think it's super good. It makes slide a lot easier, but that's the kind of simplification that actually turns me off a little bit, you know? Like, the DSS one didn't really bother me so much, as I've just described and why I described it the way I did too, right? But the slide input is definitely kind of gross to me. You know, the running 3 change, like that one, I'm 50-50 on because there have been so many times where I've messed up the running input. And, like, yeah, a lot of us have put a lot of time into practicing and trying to get the execution perfect to do instant running attacks. But I like this leniency that I have now because I'm a scrub now, right? So I can see why they made the running change because that applies to, like, 90% of the characters. The slide change, though, that only applies to, like, 3 or 4 characters, right? So you're taking something away from character specialists here rather than making the game more accessible. Does that make sense? Like, for this character Law now, you have easy DSS, you have easy running 3, and you have easy slide. Like, that's a lot of simplification you've done. And I think the only one that you could take away, that you probably should consider taking away, is the slide one. That's my thoughts on Law overall. I think the character is good. I think he's fun. I love how goofy he is now with the Armored Dragon. You know, and I hate rich people. I think he's got a lot of personality. And I think that shines across the majority of Tekken 8 so far, right? A lot of the characters seem to have more personality. There's a lot more special interactions between the characters, whether it be in the intros or doing the rage arts or whatever. So there's a lot of cool stuff in that front, on that front as well, right? So I think they're kind of nailing that part of the game really well. The actual gameplay, when you come to, like, chip damage, though, I think this is the part where I'm, like, most confused about Tekken 8. Because at first, you know, if I'm just using Law with Heat and I do, like, 4-3, DSS 4-2-2, right? And I'm using that kind of chip strings, like, it does very minimal chip, right? And that to me is fine. I don't really care about that chip damage. It's almost like it's not important, right? But then you do something like Law's Legend Kick or King Sidestep 3+4, Claudio running 2, you know, all these, like, really big chip attacks. I think those are the ones that I'm really grossed out by, right? Like, I don't like seeing that because I was using King, right? And obviously I'm not a King player. People aren't used to blocking or ducking King's Sidestep 3+4, which is his deadly boomerang kick. And I do, like, 3 or 4 of them, and I'm looking at their health. I'm like, dude, you just lost, like, 25%, you know? And I'm like, usually that's a move you're like, oh, I got to block so I don't get hit by this because this is a big damage move. But now instead you're, like, losing chunks of your health for it. And, like, I understand it's recoverable, but still, you know, like, still, it doesn't seem right. It feels like it doesn't fit in Tekken because that chip damage is significant, right? Like, when it's insignificant, like I was describing with the Law Shaolin spin kick string, then I don't really care about it. But then it brings me to this point of, like, either chip is too much or it's too little, and what's the point? You know, like, is it really adding anything to the game that's, like, interesting? You know, like, the dynamic at the end of a life bar where, like, somebody has recoverable health and now they have to attack to get that health back. I think that's the mentality of why they wanted the recoverable health and trying to force aggression, etc. But I don't like it. I guess I just don't like it. You know, I don't see the real benefit of that. Also, a downside of this is that when you have the recoverable health and people are attacking each other and they're getting their health back, whatever, it means that you get less slow-mos because people just have too much health for the last hit to kill anymore. So now they just die from, like, you know, a launcher again or some kind of like big punish. So there's no more slow-mos. Like, slow-mos are way less now in Tekken 8 than Tekken 7 because of the recoverable health and the chip damage system. So I don't know, you kind of took the system that was so dope in Tekken 7 that created all these really cool moments, and now you've sacrificed that. Of course it still exists, but you've sacrificed it for the system that's not really benefiting anything, you know? So I don't know, I'm really torn on the chip system. Like, I think it was a cool idea to try it, but I feel like, for me, just me speaking for myself here, I don't see the benefits for it right now. Like, I think from the first moment I touched this game, I was confused about it. I wasn't sure about, like, how it was all going to play out. I needed more time to see it all. And now that it's been like a while and I've played this game multiple times and I've played it a lot this past 2 weekends, I still don't really get it. I still don't really feel like it's important to Tekken, you know? Like, maybe for other games or something, but I don't feel like it's important for Tekken. The heat system. The heat system is interesting. I feel like I didn't explore it enough with all the other characters. I played about, I think, 13 of the 16 characters here. And I played a significant amount with most of those characters. I think only, like, Ling I played a little bit of, but everyone else a lot. And I think that the heat system for Law is super cool, right? Like, he has stuff that he can do only in heat that makes him kind of different in heat. But then other characters, when they're in heat, I don't really feel the same way. Like, that might just be my inexperience with all of those characters. But I kind of wish it was more for everybody. You know, where, like, in heat, you have these other things that are, like, super duper good. Or not even necessarily super duper good, but just super different. You know, that it changes the way you're playing all of a sudden. And there are other characters that have this. It's not just Law, obviously, right? But I feel like some of the characters, they feel, I don't want to say undertuned in that sense, but it feels like them when they're in heat is not as impactful in terms of how they have to play the game or how they want to change playing the game, etc. So that's something to consider too. I think, you know, the other thing that people talk about, you know, if you play Paul and you do like a heat dash and then you're dealing with like the straight up 50-50 of, you know, Demo Man or Death Fist, I don't think people like that, right? And again, obviously the sidestep is better in this game, but I haven't done enough testing to know how easy it is to get out of those situations, you know? So I really don't know. The other thing I got to complain about this game is the safer strings or strings that jail. Like, I don't know what that's about. It's an interesting change for Law because I have to play dumber with him is how I've described it. Like, I got to do double flips more. I got to do full crouch, low kick flip. I got to do down forward 4-3 flip because all of those are safer now. So if I do more of those, then you won't punish my single flip, you know? Like, it's like a scrubbier way to play the character, but it makes all of those moves come out more now, right? So I understand the reasoning for that one. But then you have characters like Ling, where it's like her forward 2-1 jails. Like, I don't know if she has to hold back or not for it, right? But regardless, like, why is that a change? Like, why did you make high strings jail? Like in that instance, right? Or Horong has down 3-3 that jails now, or down for 4, I mean, that jails, right? And that one's super weird. Like, that has been historically low kick, high kick, and it's a counter hit launcher, right? And I think it still does a launch on counter hit, but now you cannot duck the second hit and launch him for it. It's just really, really weird. And I don't know why they want to see that move used more, I guess, you know? It's very strange. Just like you're rewarding the offense, but there's nothing you can do defensively against it. Like, you've been punished for having good defense is what this game has done. Like, oh, do you have good defense this game? Sucks for you. Now you're worse. You know, like, what? Like, why are you punishing people for, like, learning and being good at things defensively? Also, one more thing about Law. His while standing 3+4 is his rainbow flip, but it only goes forward now, right? Like, you guys seen me in Tekken 7, I do it going away, right? And that's the only way it's ever been useful. So now it's a 14 frame punish from full crouch apparently. So like it's got one use, but man, does that shit suck. Like, give me the backwards one, dude. Give me the backwards one. Lings down back 2, that move is really stupid good still. You know, it's like, I don't know that she ever needed that move. Ling players, I feel like, must be so happy about that move, you know? That move is like ridiculous. And now especially because she has the back turn down 4 instant screw launcher, like that seems really buff. Like obviously it's launch punishable and you can deal with it. But yeah, backdash nerf is interesting. Like I understand it and why they did it. For me, I feel like, especially if I'm going against Lars, there's so many instances where I can't get out of there. I feel like Lars is constantly in my face and I can't get away from him, you know? The problem with Tekken 7's backdash was that you just had a couple characters that were too far, right? Everyone else, for the most part, is pretty good. And I think people like that. You know, they just didn't like it when you had Zafina, Kunimitsu, Elisa, who was just backdashing like freaking crazy, you know? Like, that's the part where backdash got like disgusting, right? So now they're in a situation, right, where let's say those 3 characters come back, right? Let's say all 3 of them come back. And they're in this system, except they still have Tekken 7 backdashes and everyone else doesn't. Then you're in the same problem, right? So it's like, did you really fix anything? I don't know. It doesn't feel good though to be in a situation where you are being pressured and you don't really have answers, right? Like if they're trying to force it, like use your power crush then, right? Well, the characters in the games don't have equal power crushes. You know, it's not a universal system like a focus attack or something. It's something that you actually have to have good for your character to get out of that situation. Even sidestep, it's not a universal system, right? Different characters have different size sidesteps. So that's not universal either to escape. And even though backdash was also not universal, where in the sense that different characters had different size backdashes and had different acceleration at the start and end their backdashes, it was still another option to get you out of there. That is now like more limited than before, right? So personally, I prefer it to go back, more like Tekken 7, right? And this is the big problem, right? The big problem is, as much as everyone a year and a half ago, let's not forget, everyone was like, oh, I'm so tired of Tekken 7, give me Tekken 8, right? When you get a new game, it's a new game, you know? And it might not be what you want anymore. That's what happens when new games get made. And what you got to remember is Tekken 7 was good. Despite everyone saying they were tired of whatever, it was a damn good game. And I still love watching it, and it's going to be sick at EVO this weekend. So I'm still excited that we have Tekken 7 around, right? But everyone wants games to be like the last game, right? That always happens. So it's not surprising that people want things to go back or want things to go back the way they were, because Tekken 7 was the good one. But then I feel like you end up at a point where you end up being like, well, is this Tekken 8 or is this Tekken 7.2, you know? And I don't know. It's I think the combo system's super cool. I think the heat system's cool. I think you can put the backdash back to Tekken 7 and it's still Tekken 8, you know? So I hope that they do kind of go back a little bit towards Tekken 7 for the backdashes, basically. They definitely improved the netcode in Tekken 8. They definitely did. Yeah, netcode's something we could talk about here too. I have a clip. I'll try and find it, and if I edit this for YouTube, we'll throw the clip in here. But I played someone who had 400 ping. I've never played anyone in any game that has 400 ping, right? I had it set to prioritize response, right? And in that setting, you get like as low as delay they want to give you and way more rollback frames. And it was freaking teleporting like crazy, right? Like for sure, of course it is, right? It's 400 ping. But the crazy thing was, if I remember correctly, I think I did the 4 up 3 dash 4-3 nunchuck, right? So I could see and do my dash 4-3 nunchuck just like it was normally, right? And then I could also do, and I did, while standing 4, DSS counter hit confirm 3+4/4. So that was shocking. Like, that was absolutely shocking when that happened, right? So that match was crazy. I feel like when I play on the standard setting, it feels like Tekken 7. It looks like Tekken 7. Like, there's very minimal teleporting happening. But it's still better than Tekken 7 ever was, right? But only a minor amount. Whereas when I play with prioritized response, like, it definitely gets crazy looking, especially when people are moving too fast, right? Which has always been the issue with Tekken and all of Tekken's netcodes, going back to Tekken Tag 2, right? When you go against someone like Brawl Pro, who's just wave dashing hella fast, the damn screen and the damn internet like lags out. His character doesn't look right. It looks crazy. The netcode, I feel like, too, between these two settings, there's standard and there's prioritized response, right? Basically, the way I feel when I'm playing the game, when there is someone very close to me, I want it to be the standard setting. If there's someone very far from me, I want it to be the prioritized response setting, you know? So I wish the game would automatically do that somehow. You know, I wish there was a setting that let me automatically do that, because that would be the best of all worlds, right? Because when you have someone very close to you, you don't want them teleporting around. You just want it to be freaking perfect, right? So it's okay to have like 1 frame of delay or whatever. But if someone is 400 ping away, you know, you don't want to have freaking 15 frames of delay or whatever that's supposed to be, you know? You want it to be like as many rollback frames as possible. That just sounds like you want better netcode. No, I'm saying that in the same system, right? Like, if you're using standard for someone close to you, like 50 ping or less, right? If you're using standard for that, it's great. Like, I have no problems with that. But if I'm using that standard setting and I play someone who's in Europe, then I have all of a sudden, like, you know, 3 to 5 frames of delay, and that's not good. I don't want to feel that. That feels laggy, right? So when I play that Europe person, I want that one to be prioritized response mode. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't automatically change for you. And since you're randomly being matched up to different people with different distances around the world, like, you can't like change the style of netcode on the fly. So it's very, even though between these two systems that are in the game currently is what I'm saying, right? If there was like, if they're not going to make this dynamic system, which I think would be pretty sick, then I think that a middle ground would be pretty interesting as well, you know? Where it's just like in the middle, it would be more delay, less rollback, whatever. You understand? I just don't experience this in Street Fighter 6. Yeah, I get it. I get it. I play Street Fighter 6 too, you know? Like, I get it. But again, I've never played someone with 400 ping in Street Fighter. Like, obviously, the matchmaking in this beta was trash, right? Like, the matchmaking this weekend made me not even turn the game on the second day. Like, I was like 12 hours in the second day. I was like, I don't even feel like playing right now. Whatever Street Fighter is doing, man, they did it perfectly, right? Like, Tekken 8 netcode compared to Street Fighter 6 netcode, Street Fighter 6 is superior. Like, there's no question about this, you know? And like I was saying earlier, between the standard setting and prioritized response setting, if there was a middle ground, right? If there was a middle ground that said, like, you know, let's add a little bit more delay at the sacrifice of a little bit of rollbacks, then it would be good too, to have that third option. But I really feel like the dynamic system is really where things need to end up. Yeah, I think that's probably what they should do. So graphics in this game, obviously really good, but the setting that they added, right, where it's low, medium, or high for the effect saturation, I put it at the lowest setting, and it still seems that it's a lot of stuff on the screen. So I don't know what that's about. Like, I thought that low would be like almost nothing, you know? But instead, low is still like a ton of stuff going on. So that was kind of confusing. I wish that the low setting was actually like significantly lower, and then the medium setting was whatever the low setting is currently. You know what I mean? PC version, by the way, bringing up graphics, definitely needs some work, because day one of the PC version, I got to assume it is all shader compiler stuff. I don't know for sure, but it seemed like every single hit and effect you did on every stage and every attack and heat smash and everything caused the game to massively lag, right? And then after you did them all, right? After you've done all those moves and loaded all those stages and everything, over time it all went away, which leads most of us to think that that was probably shader compiling that needed to have happened beforehand, right? But yeah, that's about it for graphics. I think the game looks very pretty. It's a nice step up from 7. It's hard to go back to 7 graphically after you play this game enough. Oh, sound effects, man. Let's get rid of these damn sound effects, dude. Like, I'm still getting used to listening to it all, right? Like, this week, it didn't seem as annoying to me, but it's still, like, there, right? The ka-ching, 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 the ka-ching sound effect. Every time when you're in heat and you're doing heat-specific attacks, like the ching ching ching, like that noise always going off, right? And when you have a character like Leroy, where his heat thing is that his 1+2 rapid fire punches, they do more chip damage during heat. So for him, it's like ching 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 ching, you know, it's like super high pitched and annoying. Yeah, not cool. Make that something else. Make that something else. Like, I don't mind that there's a sound effect for it. I think that there should be a sound effect for it, because I remember in the older version I played that there was no sound effect, so you couldn't tell like when you were using heat things or not. So it should be something, but currently it's too distracting. I don't know, it takes away too much. And just in general, the sound effects in this game are just all overdone, right? There's a lot of like boom boom, like super explosions for like super small hits, it feels like a lot of the time. Because of that, when you hit something like a Death Fist, you don't even feel like you hit a Death Fist as much anymore, because everything is like that now. And yeah, of course, the timer when there's 10 seconds left, it seems like the timer, it's also kind of an annoying sound, and also for too much time. I would say probably like 8 seconds or something. It's okay if it was lower volume. Maybe like start it at a much lower volume and scale the volume up over time. For that 10 seconds, if you're going to keep it at 10 seconds, you know, like that could be probably a cleaner way of implementing whatever. You love the sub 10-second countdown beeps, acid tension. No, yeah, I think that that's fine. Like, I don't mind that there is a beep. I just feel like the beep that they currently have is annoying. That's all it is. I feel like whatever that tone is, plus the volume of it at 10. Like for me, I would change the tone of it, and also have the 10 beep, like imagine like beep, 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 beep. You know what I mean? Like if it was building up as the time was getting lower, then fine, right? But it's more like 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. It's like the whole damn time. It's so long. Like they might as well have someone just yelling at you the whole time, you know? Yeah, it's just like, it seems like overly intense for what it is. Which is just the sound design in general, you know? Music is fine. The only stage I didn't really dig as much with the music was Sanctum. And it's only that one part of the song, which, you know, they may or may not change, but dun 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 dun, like that's the only part that was like not that cool to me. Yeah, it's like, you know, when everyone's typing in the chat, you can usually tell. It's probably a problem. Don't nerf Kazuya's down for D+4. I'm not even concerned about like all the moves that are good, right? Like stuff like Kazuya string. It's like, I'm sure a lot of that stuff will get tweaked. I don't think we're at a point in the lifespan of the game where we have to worry about that. Like if this was a release version of the game, then we can talk about the balance of individual moves, you know? Kazuya string is obviously very, very good. They probably could just reduce the damage on it a little bit. That's probably fine. Hopefully chicken is still in the game. And even if it is for one of those characters, not the other, I think if you're going to have a system like that, make that part of the heat system for them. You know, like when you're in heat, you cannot chicken the reversals, right? Like I think that's like more interesting because it adds like this element in the game, like, oh, they're in heat now. Now I cannot, now I got to watch out for their counters more, you know? Or like if you're Oscar Jr., like, okay, now I'm in heat. Now I can use my counters more because they can't chicken it, right? Like it changes the way you have to play the character. I think that's the coolest things that I like about the heat system when I'm using Law. So I hope that that kind of stuff still can filter in. My overall feelings on my experience with Tekken 8 is that the game is fun, feels like Tekken. I don't like the chip system. I think I'm finally there. You know, I've played it a lot, and I've like been waiting for like a moment of clarity on it, and I think I'm finally there. I think I don't like the chip system now. Like I was giving it a chance. I was like, let's see where this goes, you know. And I feel like obviously the big obnoxious chip damage things are obviously not going to be that way on release, right? Like no one would want to play the game if it was like that. But then if you tone them down drastically, then now you just have this chip system that doesn't do anything, right? So it's like you either want it to be obnoxious or not do anything. So what's the point of having it, you know? It's not doing anything for me that makes it interesting. And again, like I was saying earlier, the biggest thing too for me when I think about that and I think about the other side of it where, you know, at the end of your life bar, you're recovering this health, and because you recovered health, because of the chip system, you end up not getting slow-mos as much, right? Because it's not coming down to the last hit anymore, right? Where both people could potentially die because now you've recovered some health. So we get way less slow-mos out of it. It's not impactful unless it's obnoxious, and nobody likes it when it's obnoxious. So I don't know. The system doesn't seem good. I was hoping it would be different though. Like I said, I played it around the world, right? I went to France, I went to Japan, Combo Breaker, and I've been playing this game for a minute, and every time I was always kind of like, I can't wait to see how this plays out. Like, you know, because every time you do that, you only have like 30 minutes an hour max sort of situations. But now that we've had like, you know, 40, 50 hours over the last 2 weekends, it's a lot clearer. Thanks for watching. Tekken 8 CNT was fantastic. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I will catch you guys later. Go hang out with all your crackhead friends. They should just let us play this game forever. Later, everybody. Have a good one.